Good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos. Ada.
Good Shabbat.
A good Dank Tag, a guten Dank Tag.
Moti Dank Tag.
Isruchag Dank Tag.
Dank Tag.
Happy post Thanksgiving and happy Good Shabbos. The search of reason ends at the shore of the known. On the immense expanse, beyond it only the sense of the ineffable glide. As we enter into Shabbat, we glide into the ineffable with Higalena. Higale, gale, gale, no. Froze, Chavivi alai. Zukat, Zukat, Shlomecha. Gale, 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 na. Froze, Chavivi alai. Zukat, Zukat, Shlomecha. Gale, 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 no. Froze, Chavivi alai. Zukat, Zukat, Shlomecha. Oh, Gale, 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 no. You froze, Habibi, alai. Zukat, Zukat, Shlomecha. Sing a new song, oh, sing a new song. Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash. Shiru l'Adonai, kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai, baruch hu shemo. Basru miyom liyom Yeshuato. Zapru v'agayim kivodo, v'chol amim niflotav, ki gadol Adonai umula meod, norahu hakol Elohim, kol Elohei amim elilim, Adonai shamayim v'asa, Hode hadar lefanav, Oz v'tiferet b'mikdasho. Havul Adonai mishpechot amim, Havul Adonai kavod v'hoz, Havul Adonai kevod shemo. צאו מלכה וחצרותה, אשתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, חילו מפניו כל הארץ, אמרו בגויים אדוני מלך, עתיקון תבל בל תימות, ידין עמים במישרים, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, עירם הים ומלואו, יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו, זירננו כל הצייר לפני אדוני כי בא לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, ימים וימים, ידי 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 Song, new song, new day, new Shabbos, new way, new song, new song, new song, new song, new song.
New song.
Old song.
An old song, an oldie but a goodie. I miss more. Let David Havul Adonai v'ne'elim. Havul Adonai kavod vaoz. Havul Adonai kevod shemo. Ishtachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh. Kol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod yirim. Adonai al mayim rabim. Kol Adonai v'hakoach. Kol Adonai v'hadar. Kol Adonai Shaber Arazim, Shaber Adonai et Razei Abanon, Hayavayar Kidem, Kemoegel, Haylevanon Vesirion Kemo, Benrahimim, Kol Adonai Chotev Lavodesh, Kol Adonai Midbar, Hayachil Adonai Midbar Kadesh, Kol Adonai Cholel Hayalot, Hayacheso, Yearod, Echalo Kulo Merkavod, Adonai La, Haymabu Yashav, Vayeshev Adonai Melech Leolam, Adonai Le'amoitin, Adonai Varech et Amo Vashalom, Hayayim Adai, Anai, 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 Hayanai, Hayay, Hayam Vidai, Hayam
We enter that still small voice, that still small voice at the end of this mystical, beautiful poem that tells, that yearns, that asks, oh, Anna B'koach, Please untie our tangles. Our tangles are tangled up in blueness. Bring us to newness with Baruch Shem Kivod.
Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuso Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch
Shem Kevod Malchuso Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. And we move.
Good Shabbos, everybody. I invite you all to take a deep breath, a deep, 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 deeper breath. Vayetze is this parsha. What are you leaving behind? Are you running away from a brother's trying to kill you? Are you running away from a day that didn't serve you? Are you running away from your family? Are you running away from responsibilities? Whatever it is you're running away from, it's a resting time now. Find a place of rest in your body. Find your shoulders resting. Close your eyes. Find a spot, find a comfortable place for you to enter into that spaciousness, the reservoir of breath. And like Jacob, in this beautiful, 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 paradigmatic, primal dream of a ladder with angels going up and down and up and down, that became his portal, his stairway to heaven. Sha'ar Hashemayim. As we breathe, go inside and find the place from down below, the ground below you, and the place above you, where you tap into that thing that is way bigger than you. And through that portal, just breathe in and breathe out. And we will stay like this for the next minute.
I hear a new sound from this ground I'm on, a new tone from this stone. It makes me stop, take stock. After all, there's a rock.
I talk with the sages, rock like the ages, walk like the nameless right off the pages. Let's take the mask off the faceless. I want to kick a rap for all races. That is the basis of my neurosis. God was in this place and I didn't even notice.
I stand in this place, stop the race, slow the pace, and I say, I'm no sinner, I'm a winner. Hey God, let's make a deal. This is real.
Let's take the mask of the faceless. I want to kick a rap for all races. That is the basis of my neurosis. God was in this place and I didn't even notice.
I didn't even notice. The beautiful rap that Chazan Basya was singing are the words of Eden Pearlstein, interspersed with my lines of poetry. And with it, we now pose a question to you with our weekly Mentimeter. And the question is, what divine power in your midst are you noticing anew?
God was in this place and I didn't even notice.
God was in this place and I didn't even notice.
I was in this place and I didn't notice.
I didn't notice.
Maya, keep singing with us.
God was in this place and I didn't even notice. Compassion was
Compassion.
there. Emuna was there.
Faith.
I didn't even notice.
Resilience.
Resilience, forgiveness, compassion, freedom were all in this place and I didn't even notice.
Hope and gratitude. Kindness and patience. Self-love.
Self-love and loving kindness was in this place and I didn't even notice.
You didn't even notice.
Fear and restraint.
Perseverance, patience, beauty, intuition.
Ease, 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 ease. Intuition.
Quiet. And I didn't even notice. Openness. Inspiration.
Resilience, 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 compassion, and strength were all in this holy place, in my holy space, and I didn't even notice.
Articulation, articulation. I said it, I named it. I didn't notice it was in this place. She was in this place.
The Shabbos queen. The Shabbos presence was in this place, and I didn't even notice.
And now with this divine presence newly surrounding us, newly surrounding us with all your voices, everyone in this community with your voices, we are gathering here together to greet the Shabbos Queen.
To notice her.
Mm.
לשם תפארת ולתהילה לך.
לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבס לכוונך כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך
דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה קומי צאי מתוך אף אחד הירא לך שבט ויעמק הבחר והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה
לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה התנערי מעפר קומי לבשי בגדי תפארתך מי על יד אישי בית הלחמי קורבה אל נפשי גאלה לך
דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי
dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nika belo lecha
dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabe la yiriram barai yararo amirirai ro yaram yararo ayarai ro yararo ayarai ro yaram barai nararo ayarai ro.
That track is coming soon. It's coming lechadodi dear cat
Chazan Basia, we can't hear you.
Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam besimcha uvetzala toch emunei segula boi chala Shabbat makah hayya lecha dodi hayya likrat kala Pelei Shabbat nekabela hayya nanai nanai hayya nanai nanai hayya nanai nanai hayya nanai hayya. Good Good Shabbos, everybody. Good Shabbos. This is the moments where all the joy and all the prayer that we experience together for Kabbalat Shabbat, we brought in Shabbat, and we have joy and we have warmth and we're resourced and we're kind of getting renourished, and we take that energy and that power that we now have and we bring it to the prayer of healing to those in our community who are at this point, and those beyond our community who are suffering and not feeling well. So what we're going to do is we're going to share names on the screen. We're just going to hold the names. We're going to all read the names together silently in the screen and in the chat. Please just share the names. We'll all hold those names together as we sing the Ana Elna Rifanala prayer of petitionary healing of others. Please share those names. We're looking for those names. We can share them on the screen as well if we have a list of the names of people we're praying for at this time. And just listen to the prayer. We don't need the words of the prayer. We need the names of those we're holding at this time. Please let's share those names so we can see and we can pray with everybody. Ana Elna Rifanala Beharot La Nawam Zivach Az Titchazeh V'Titrapeh V'Haitala Simchat Olam Ana Elna Rifanala Beharot La Nawam Zivach Az Titchazek V'Titrapeh V'Haitala Simchat Olam Hayadai Dai 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 Nai We see those names come in. They are faces, they are hearts, they are souls, they are suffering. And we pray for their healing in mind, body, spirit, and soul. Mind, body, spirit, and soul. We play and we pray for full healing. Mishabeira, Chavotenu, Imotenu, Sarifka, Rachaleu, Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov. May they come to a healing. May it come soon. And let us all say as a community, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Now is the moment to tell you what's happening in the Romemu community before we welcome all of you to this space, to this Romemu space. So if I could have the slides of our announcements. Unfortunately, I don't know them by heart. Thank you so much. Okay, coming up tonight, Kabbalat Shabbat. That exciting. Tomorrow morning, open book. I will be teaching at 9 a.m. And please note, and those of you who are here, hopefully you all know this, we now start at 6 p.m. on Friday nights. Ready for our next slide. Here we go. Okay, we have daily morning minyan with Rabbi Mira and people really love going to the morning minyan. It's a great way to start off the day. Hasidic Masters with Rabbi David, almost every day of the week. And 2 Sundays a month, Romemu Community Kitchen with the Mandala Cafe, feeding the hungry. So join us. I think we're actually meeting this Sunday. Okay, next slide. Anything else happening? Of course, we have all our courses. Romemu Yeshiva and Lifelong Learning, Beit Midrash, as I said, Hasidic Masters, Hebrew, anything you want to know. And it's a wonderful opportunity to connect with people at Romemu, to sit and learn with other people.
And this one change, Rabbi Diane, that the Mandala Cafe is not meeting this coming Shabbat and Sunday. It's meeting on the 13th, which is
okay.
Not
Great.
this.
Okay.
Too.
Thank you so much. And I was all ready to join. Oh, well.
Or
Okay.
maybe. Okay.
Anything else?
I think we need to see who's here this Shabbos. I think we're missing everybody.
Let's
we need
do
to
it.
See.
Let's
go gallery view.
Let's share the screen and see who's here. Great. Thank you.
Let's go into.
Who's new? Put your names in the chat. Who's new and where are you from? And great to see so many of the usual faces. Shabbat Shalom, Sharon Dolan, Michelle Harbath, Keith and Barbara, Bracha and Carol, Elizabeth and Richard. Wow, Margot Wolfson. So many familiar
Marcella.
faces all over the place. Michaela. Oh my God, a lot of people. Let's see.
I feel like some people look like they're in a turkey coma. Is that correct?
Lauren and Jonathan, welcome. New arrivals from Detroit. Kathy Harding rejoined after a few years away. Tofu coma from David Borden. Love that.
Raise your hand if you're having Thanksgiving leftovers for Shabbos dinner.
For sure. For the next 5 days, probably.
Yeah.
If you haven't listened yet, actually, Romemu Brooklyn has started a Shabbatify podcast that we present every two times a month. And this month, we actually are teaching everybody here how to turn their leftover turkeys into like Shabbos sacred turkey soup. So if you haven't listened and you haven't made your soup yet, feel free to log on to that.
Nice. Mark Spires from Montreal. Welcome. Shabbat Shalom. Estelle says, save a drumstick or two for me.
And Max says, not my first time here, but I'm in a new place, starting a 6-month farm work travel journey. And this is my first experiment with an on-the-go holy space. Mazel tov to you. And this is the week for space. Hamakom. This is a week where we talk about space and spaciousness and holy space.
David says this tonight is his dad's first yahrzeit. Charles Walk. He is silent. Please mention. Yes, we will mention his name. Thank you for telling us. Brooklyn in Hebrew.
So good to see everybody. Everybody, okay, let's just do a big communal smile. Like everybody smile. I just want to see everyone smile. And look to your right and look to your left, look up and down, and let's pretend that we can all see each other. And let's blow some kisses. It's just nice. It's nice to see everybody. It's really nice to see everybody. So yeah, it's beautiful. Hi, Angie. I saw some waves. And it's an interesting time because this is a period of time where we're actually we're sharing also the intensity of creating a beautiful space together. And this is not a time where all of us have been able to go home this year. We've not been able to go home, all of us. And so we have to create the awesome, creative, beautiful space within our own home. And it's not always that easy. So this parsha gives us a way to enter in to awesome, to radical amazement, to wonder right where we are. And wherever you are, this community is so amazing for all of us to drop into as a home. So we're going to start the Baruch Hu moment together as we rise, and I'm going to share a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful melody by the Heilige Suzanne Vega. And there's a beautiful, beautiful guitar solo she does at the end that's very spacious. And we're going to sing the words Ma Norah HaMakom Hazeh to those beautiful melody lines. And then we're going to enter the Baruch Hu in that way. And this is a little bit of an experiment in sound for me, so please bear with me for a second. But I think here we're going to go in a second.
Ma Norah HaMakom Hazeh. How awesome is this place? What Yaakov says.
Hamevorach leolam vaed.
Bruchat Shechina Eloheinu Rachel Asher Bidvaro Mari Varavi who creates nighttime, who sets the stars in the sky. Elach haya v'kayamet, tamim lo timloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Bruchat Shechina Mariva Haravim. This parsha is about space, as Chazan Basya reminded us, but it's also about love. It's also about love, a lot of complicated love. Yaakov sees Rachel and loves her instantly, and Rachel's sister Leah is unloved. And that unloving begets competition between sisters. It begets a certain amount of brokenness in that love. And love, as we all know, is complicated. Love is vast and rich. And in that ahavat olam, in that great, great love, in that ahava rabbah, that vast divine love, there is also complicated richness there too. Love is not perfect. But this week I was thinking about Rachel and Leah, and thinking about Yaakov, the dreamer, and Yosef, the dreamer, these two men of dreams. We know their dreams, and the women in between. And I was thinking about their dreams. What did Rachel and Leah dream about as sisters, as young girls, before their love became complicated? What did we all dream about before love becomes complicated? So I want to invite you into accessing a childlike love, a childlike dreamy love, as we move into Ahava Rabbah, into loving, into Shema.
Something else to add about Leah before we add more love from the everlasting, unyielding reservoir of love. There's more about Leah to learn about love from. Diane, could you share something else before we finish this prayer?
Maybe she'll share it when she gives her Dvar Torah.
We live across love and space, and love and space, love and space. He has love, she has loved us.
Closing our eyes as we try and access that childlike love across time and space. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta, and you shall love with a pure childlike love et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha, with all of your heart, to v'chol nafshecha ובכל מאותיך, והיו הדברים האלה, אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך, ובישעריך. Mark this love on your bodies and on your households. And I will give you rain in its proper time. As the seasons change and as the seasons go. Teach them to your children. And mark them on the doorposts of your home so that you can never say that God was in that place and you didn't even notice. Vaydaber Adonai al Moshe limor. On the next page, Daber el b'nei Yisrael v'amarta alehem v'yasu lahem tzitzit al kanfei b'deim l'dorotam v'natnu al tzitzit hakanaf v'til techelet, as reminders that God is wrapped around you wherever you go. As the Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef eleh. As we stand on the brink of freedom, singing our freedom song. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגואלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Moving.
What are we moving into?
Into a shelter of peace.
That sounds really good. It sounds really good. It really does. I really want to be in a shelter of peace. I think we're all looking for that. So this is the one.
Building it with matzevot.
With stones. Stones under your head for dreams, and stones to build the cornerstone of the house of God. There's so many ways that we can learn about building a sheltering piece from this parsha alone. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha tova milfanecha vehoshi Adonai Hapore Sukkot Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Amo Yisrael V'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel V'al Yerushalayim.
Letting Shabbos be that shelter of peace. V'shalmeru b'nei Yisrael es ha-Shabbos lasos es ha-Shabbos ledorotam berit olam beini uvein bnei Yisrael oti le'olam ki sheishes yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz uvayom hashavi Shabbos vayinafar.
Aramaic pause, Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shmei Rabbah. Yomad Yirach Yerutei v'yamlech malchutei b'chayeichonu v'yomeichonu v'chayedecho Beit Yisrael b'agala uvizman kariv yimru.
Amen. Yishmei Rabba Mevorach, Le'olam lo me'omaya, Yishbarach, Yishbarach, Yishtabach, Yitvar, Yishman, Yitnaser, Yitzadar, Yitzalev, Yitzalel, Shemei Kudsha, Brichu, Leila, Mikol Birchata v'shirata, Tushpecha, Savanechem, Asada, Miram, Be'elma, Limeru.
Amen. And now we invite everybody into the Amidah, into the silent prayer. It could be a meditation, and you can read these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful words of 7 blessings by Rabbi Jill Hammer, or you could sit or you could stand. We'll see you on the other side.
This morning, I was walking my dog, and I ran into another dog walker, and I said simply, "How are you?" And she said, "I'm fine." And then she kind of backtracked and she said, "I mean, you know." And I said, "Yes, I know, the world. It's hard to be fine these days." And she said, "Yes, but it's just what you say." I remember once, some years ago, before this difficult moment in time, someone asked me how I was, and I was really struggling at that time. And I was honest. I told them the truth. And she looked at me and said, more than I wanted to know. I felt terrible. I felt embarrassed. My story unwanted. And I'm wondering tonight, as I look around this Zoom room, those of you who I can see and those of you who I can imagine, how are you? What do you say when you're asked? How are we? 9 months deep in the midst of a pandemic that is at this moment becoming more frightening each day, recovering from the most contested presidential election in American history, facing the worsening consequences of climate change. With all that, how are we? How are we indeed? Not to mention the normal struggles, conflicts, griefs, and losses of human life, which in themselves can be so much to carry, so much weight to bear. Even before all this started, I thought life was difficult. And to whom can we tell our truths of how we really are? I mean, who wants to listen to the real story? With pain and shame and joy and sadness and loneliness and blessing and curse. I mean, everything. As one of the characters in the film Zorba the Greek says, the full catastrophe. Well, there's an incredible moment in this week's Parsha with Rachel, our foremother, unable to tell her story. In fact, she lies to her father, Lavan. Here's the story. Jacob, after living in his father-in-law's house for about 20 years, took his wives, the sisters Rachel and Leah, the competitors really, their handmaidens, Bilhah and Zilpah, and all his children, and all the wealth they had, or he had accumulated during those years, and ran away. Laban ran after him, catches up with him, and accuses him of stealing his household gods. Now, we know, although Jacob doesn't and Laban doesn't, that Rachel had earlier stole her father's household gods when he was out sheep shearing. So what are these household gods? Well, it seemed to be the accepted custom in Mesopotamia for every family to have gods. There's nothing specific known about how big they were, how small they were, what they were. Sometimes they were human figurines. We're really not sure. But we will find out a little more about them and what they mean about inheritance a little later. So meanwhile, Lavan is frantic about his gods. He looks all over Jacob's tent. He looks all over Leah's tent and the tents of the handmaidens, and finally he enters Rachel's tent. You could feel the dramatic tension heighten. The Torah tells us that they are in the saddlebag of her camel, and Rachel is sitting right on top of them. Lavan feels everywhere for them and can't find them. So what does she say to her father? Let not my Lord be angry that I cannot get up in your presence, for the way of women is upon me. And he searched, but he did not find the Trophim. The Trophim is the Hebrew word for household gods. Vatomer el aviha, al yichar be'enei Adoni, ki lo uchal lakum mipanecha, ki derech nashim li, v'yichapes v'lo matzah et hatrafim. She uses the quote, unquote, way of women to keep her father away from her. She wields the power and the ostensible impurity of the female body to scare her father away. And she's entirely successful, for she keeps him away from the household gods they both so clearly desire. So why did Rachel lie? And why did she steal these gods to begin with? What led her to this moment? I think it's worth retracing Rachel's steps here. We first meet Rachel in this parsha at the well, like we meet so many other women in the Torah. And of course, it's a courtship scene. So one day she goes out to the well with her father's sheep, and Jacob sees her, and he runs over to her, he kisses her, and he begins to cry. I can only imagine that she's thinking, who is this guy? Why is he crying? And what does he want from me? We see in verse 20 of that same chapter, which I think is chapter 29, but I forgot to note it, that Jacob loves Rachel, but we have no idea how Rachel feels about him. In fact, we're never told whether she loves him or not. So we can only imagine that the feeling is not mutual, or maybe that the Torah doesn't care about women's feelings. Not sure which. Indeed, Jacob's words to Lavan about marrying Rachel are really not so pretty. He says, give me my wife because my days are complete, meaning he worked a long time for her. And I want to come into her. I want to lay with her. Nothing about love, nothing about wanting to build a life with her, and nothing about what she wants. To me, these words read as simply exploitative, not at all about love. And what does her father do? Many of us here will know the famous story that on Rachel's wedding night, her father Lavan switched her with her sister Leah, and Jacob married Leah. So, and again, we have no idea how Rachel felt about that. We do know that Jacob was plenty mad. So for Rachel's father, Lavan, his daughters are pawns in a game of power with Jacob. We further see that Rachel is unable to have children, and she's envious of her sister and absolutely desperate to have children. She says to Jacob, give me children or I die. Jacob is a bit of a jerk in his response. Instead of comforting her or reassuring her, like his father before him, when Isaac reassured Rebekah and prayed on her behalf, he says, am I in God's stead, who is withheld from you the fruit of the womb? So basically he blames it on her. And then when Jacob decided finally after 20 long years to leave Lavan's house, here's how Rachel and Leah describe their experience in their father's household. They say, is there yet any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? Are we not like foreigners to him? For he has sold us and has eaten up our money. And the word used, the Hebrew word used for foreigners, nochriot. So they are unrecognizable to their father, unrecognizable. Clearly, Rachel and Leah feel alienated in their father's home, that there's nothing there for them. Piecing together Rachel's story, we understand more about why Rachel had to lie to her father. She is his pawn, and he acts like she belongs to him. He gives her nothing. And finally, she's unrecognizable to him. He's uninterested in who she really is as a separate human being in her own right, unable to see her for the woman that she is. How could she possibly tell him her truth? He clearly isn't listening. But the story gets even more interesting as we consider the meaning of these trafim, these household gods. In 14th century BCE, tables or tablets of Nuzi, an ancient city in Iraq, indicate that trafim, household gods, were associated with clan leadership and inheritance rights. That gives us an incredible window into the literary pattern of Genesis. If Rachel is stealing her inheritance rights from her father and from her older sister, then she is behaving exactly as Jacob behaved in his family, stealing the birthright from his older brother, Esav. And I would dare to say, my own midrash, is that Rachel stealing these household gods represent her claiming her own spiritual life, I mean, why would she be praying to the God of Jacob, right? Jacob describes his God as the God of his father. I can't imagine, given his relationship with his wives, that he was actually sharing his spiritual life with them. And she uses this incredible sentence to her father to describe the way of women being upon her. Ki derech nashim li, the path of women is mine. Maybe this is actually the lie that tells the truth. Maybe here Rachel is claiming her own power, claiming an alternative spiritual life. It seems like the only thing, perhaps, that is truly hers. So with this act of robbery and this lie, what is she claiming? Her power, her inheritance rights, a place, a space for her own spiritual life, her own body and its workings, the sanctity of its rhythms and its ways. She claims the path of women for herself. This moment reminds me, rather painfully, of my own journey. I come from, as many people at Romemu know, a traditional community of Syrian Jews in Brooklyn. Girls were not expected to work outside the home, much less become rabbis. They were expected to get married at 18, move around the corner from their parents, and have children pretty early on. For the 6 years I was in rabbinical school, my parents told their friends that I was, quote unquote, studying. They never said what. That was the lie that covered the truth of my seeking to lay claim to my own spiritual journey and legacy. In my first year of rabbinical school, I wrote an essay about what it meant to become the first Syrian Jewish woman to become a rabbi. And here's a little clip. I was having dinner at my parents' house with a friend of theirs, Denise. Denise asked me if I was going to go to graduate school, what my plans were. Yes, I said. What school, she asked. I said, the Jewish Theological Seminary. She said, you're not going to become a rabbi, are you? God forbid, I said, with as much shock as I could muster. The situation was so replete with irony that introducing sarcasm into my lies felt like the only possible way to tell the truth. Like this was some kind of joke between me and God. Good, she says. I know a woman at the JCC where I swim, and she's actually studying to become a rabbi. Her tone was full of distaste. Can you imagine? I could barely imagine. Perhaps when Rachel said, Derech Nashim li, mine is the path of women, or the path of women is mine, she knew somewhere inside her that she was telling the truth, that she too was having a joke with God, a secret joke from the men around her, from the patriarchy that defined her life and disempowered her. So that's Rachel. That's her power. That's her spiritual life. That's her legacy. She bequeathed it to us. She surreptitiously claimed her legacy so we could clearly claim ours. So here's my question to all of us. Do you have a hidden story that you're scared to tell? Do you have a hidden spiritual life? Is part of you closeted because you're afraid of rejection, of judgment, of your family, of your friends? And here's my second question to all of us. How are we listening? Are we making the unexpected story tellable by our listening? When we say, how are you? Do we mean it? Are we, as a 20th century feminist theologian Nell Morton says, listening one another to speech, into speech? How can we begin to tell the collective and personal unwanted stories that are hidden beneath the surface? I would say by practicing storytelling, our own, by revealing bits and pieces of the stories we are scared to share. By practicing storytelling, our people's, whether it's the American story or the Jewish story, with all its attendant complexity, the light and the dark, the beauty and the brutality. By finding listeners who are willing to listen to a story beyond, I'm fine. By becoming listeners of the unwanted story. By opening ourselves up to the hidden pieces of one another, those pieces that are scared of judgment. Do you have a story that is unwanted? So let me ask you again, how are you? How are we? Are you ready to say more? Are you ready to tell at least some of the truth? Are you ready to listen? Shabbat Shalom.
Emet, 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 ha,
Emet atahu rishon, atahu acharon, umi baladecha.
Ein lanu melech, ein lanu goel, Moshiach, Moshiach. Maybe at least you can bring your heart together and tell the lies that tell the truth. If your heart is in the right place, as we return to the right place, to this place, the awesome place, the Manorah Hamakom Hazeh. Hashevota,
Hashevota,
Elevavecha,
elevavecha,
Ki Adonai,
ki Adonai,
Hu Elohim,
hu Elohim, v'nemar v'haya Adonai, v'melech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shema echad.
Yitgadal v'yikadash Shmei Rabbah. B'yalma divrah chirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayichon b'yom echon v'chayei dechol b'Yisrael v'agala u'b'zman kariv v'emru Amen.
Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam amei amaya.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal Shmei dekudsha brichu. Le'ela mikol berchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata tamiram b'yalma v'emru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu V'Kol Yisrael V'Emru
Amen.
Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Ramav Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'Kol Yoshvei Tevel V'Emru Amen.
Amen. May their memory be a blessing in this community. We are remembering so many names at this time. Please put them in the chat as well. Aaron Kentu Moses, Anna Marie Zangara, Zati Munajat, Arthur Adler, Arthur Siegel, Barry Grushkin, Benjamin Wolf Talishkin, Zechrono Levracha, Cecilia Romo, Charlie Dixon, Daisy Mankis Klein, David Rothstein, David Silverstein, Dr. Norman Crane, Devorah Stoll, Elizabeth Dubis, Michelle Baldridge, Ellsworth Levine, Elia Ben Shraga Hirsch, father of Sam Levine, Evelyn Goodman, Chaya Bracha, Felix Austin, Gabrielle Gottlieb, Gerald Bregman, Gilda Koppelman-Rieger, Harav Adin Evan, Yisrael Steinsaltz, Harav Yaakov Tzvi Ben Liba, Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, Harriet Bloom, Harriet Ingber, Helen Elon, Ido Sheffy, Erwin Bardash, Jason Andrew Brodsky, Jay Goldstein, Jean Roslyn Shore, mother of Carol Foreman, John Lewis, Lee Brox, Marianne Goldstick, Mark Evan Beitman, Mary Armstrong Mims, Myrna Feldman, Norman Crane, Rabbi David Cooper, Rabbi Dr. Henry Dicker, Rafael Rios Gallardo, Rebecca Pat Cohen, Rev Robert Grates, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Ruti Lave, Sam Torgan, and we're also remembering those who are in the chat. Will someone please share some of those names as well?
We're remembering Mary Subin Helfer and Mary Valona Thomas, Natasha Don Henderson, Chaim Ben Lazar, Sam and Adele Hellman, William Marin, Todd Sparks, Sue M. and Mel B., Paul Kagan, Evelyn Goodman, and Jane Berg, Seymour Brodsky, Kimberly Hall, and so many others, everyone who's sharing on Facebook as well. We remember their names and their lives, and may they bring blessings to us. May their memories bring us blessings.
Amen, amen. And I think we have just a few more, David Dinkins and Harry Poulos. We're going to hold all those names and all those people that people are remembering. And now we are coming to the close, to the end of our service, and there is a cup. And that cup is filled and overfilled and spilling over with blessing. It's a very feminine. If you say Derech Hanashim, the way of the feminine, that is, this service has been paved by the way of Nashim, of women. So we are so honored to take that role. I think you basically wrote the Dvar Torah for this Shabbos, for this situation. Into this cup of blessing, we have so many gratitudes. Romemu clergy and davening leaders, Rabbi Diane Kohler Estes, for your incredible Torah, for the beautiful Torah that you shared with us all throughout the service. It's such a beautiful honor, and your poetry and your rap. And Rabbi Maya Zinkow, for your incredible voice and heart and words of Torah. You are going to be such a phenomenal, incredible powerhouse of a rabbi. We are so excited to see where you go. And we also have behind the scenes, Natalia Rad, Emily Bestoff, Jeffrey Kahn, Sarah Chandler, Rachel Kohlberg, Rebecca Feldman, Max Hollander, Willie Kane, and Michaela is actually on this call with us. Oh, are you there? No, we have all these amazing Romemu team Nicks. We have Michaela actually from Belgium. She's basically in the background. It looks like you'll see her soon, because I think the team, and Justin is here with us as well, monitoring. She has this incredible backdrop that looks like she's like monitoring us from like the sunshine, but it's like 2:00 in the morning for her, by the way. And so we have the behind the scenes and the front of the scenes. I think, I know there's, step it, is there someone I'm forgetting at this moment? Is there someone? Willie. I think yes, Willie. But Michaela, could you say hello from Belgium? Say hello, wave. She's all the way from Belgium. It's like the wave is like 15 seconds later, because it's like a different time zone.
Well,
and Willie, could you share your incredible lighting that you shared with us earlier? We want to see that incredible spooky lighting that you had with us.
Oh, I used to work on an anonymous hotline, and it doubled as a thrift store, so I took this home with me.
I know we usually we're spooky before. Anyways, you're not as spooky, but that's really good. We have such a great team. Everybody hold up your cup. If you're holding a cup, I think our monitorers are going to share with us all together, you holding your cup. So please hold your cup so we can share you.
I'm holding up my seltzer this Shabbos.
That's perfect. Yom HaShishi. ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם ויחל אלוהים את יום השביעי מקדש. I'm suddenly forgetting it. Okay, there we go. No? I have the hard copy. Suddenly, okay. מלאכתו אשר עשה וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות צברי חבריי לחיים, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו, בשבת קדשו באהבה וברצון הנחיל לנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. מאיה.
קיוונו בחרת ואותנו קידשת עם כל העמים, בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. We say our final blessing, Basya.
ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת.
Amen.
Amen. Let's unmute everybody. I want to see. Let's see. Hello. Where is everybody? Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
Gallery.
Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos. Heilige Shabbos, Teire Shabbos, Zog Shoin Kinderlach, good Shabbos. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos. Heilige Shabbos, Teire Shabbos, Zog Shoin Kinderlach, good Shabbos. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos, oh yeah, good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos, Heilige Shabbos, Teire Shabbos, Zog Kinderlach, good Shabbos. A guten Dank, Tag, a guten Dank, Tag, die, Zog Kinderlach, good Shabbos. Sunshine Kinderlach, good Shabbos.
Maybe some sanctuary song as we wave and say goodbye to everybody.